You've likely heard the news about the VA interim final rule regarding the effects of medications that went into effect immediately on February 17, 2026, and was repealed 2 days later on February 19, 2026. I'm going to discuss the effects of that interim final rule, what it means that it's no longer in effect, and what we might be able to expect for the future. I'm Lori Underwood, VA Disability Attorney at Woods & Woods. The VA's final interim rule that was published and went into effect immediately on February 17th was intended to answer how should the VA rate a condition when considering the reduced effects of medications taken for that condition. There have been a long line of cases decided at the court on how the VA should rate conditions when the veteran is taking medication to alleviate their symptoms. Traditionally, the court held that the VA should not discount the effects of medication when rating disabilities unless the regulations already call for the effects of medications to be taken into account. One example of this would be hypertension, which is rated based on the effects of medication. The latest in those long line of cases is Interim versus Collins. After the Interim case, the Secretary published this final interim rule on February 17th, stating that all disabilities should be rated with the effects of medication taken into account. This is not the way that rules are typically proposed and put into effect. Generally, a rule goes through the comment period. However, the Federal Register does allow for interim final rules when a regulatory agency such as the VA feels that there's good cause to propose an interim final rule. As soon as the interim final rule went into effect on February 17th, veterans groups and advocates expressed a great deal of outrage at the VA, which caused the Secretary to pull back the final rule on February 19th, and this rule is no longer in effect. It does not mean that the VA won't put this rule back into place, but the Secretary has said there are no plans for it to take effect anytime in the future. In the interim, this rule is not having any effect nor taking effect on the veteran's disability ratings. Your conditions are still being rated the same right now because the VA is not enforcing the interim final rule. And the Interim case is also going to be heard at the Federal Circuit sometime this summer. A date is yet to be set. So there may be changes to the way that your disabilities are being rated in the future, but we'll have to keep our ear to the ground and stay tuned. Right now, your conditions are still being rated as they previously were. As there are changes and updates in the future, Woods & Woods will keep you informed. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you can receive these updates when they're published.